Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. And this morning, we are continuing our conversation with Chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Mr. Stephen Whittingham. And he's telling us about the trends that he's seeing in the capital markets and, more importantly, in the Jamaican stock market. Welcome back, Stephen. Where would you be looking at in terms of positioning the Jamaica Stock Exchange? Your chair, you're leading that board. How would you be looking at positioning it for 2025? And especially bearing in mind, we're not just trading off stocks.
Absolutely. All right. So the stock exchange has a multi-year strategic plan, and so what we're doing as we go along. Of course, we pivot as market conditions encourage us to do. But we have a long-term plan, right? And a big part of that plan is really around the diversification of our revenue streams. And so we've continued to do that, right? A big part of that is regional diversification. How can we play a more active role in our markets? And again, that does not mean that you're going to, set up a stock exchange in another market, which we have considered and are even in discussions with other organizations across the region. But ultimately, it also means that companies that are large and listed in other countries can come to Jamaica and cross-list here, where our market is fairly liquid, where we have access to foreign exchange, we have a stable FX currency, and I just think that our whole ecosystem now is open for the Caribbean. So that's that regional diversification component, and then never ever leave off investor education, because we had National Investor Week 2 weeks ago, and we had a whole host of activities. It was also, I believe, the week that we had the tropical storm, so there were a lot of a few hiccups that week. It didn't go exactly as we wanted it to go, but the importance of education and bringing young people, bringing the entire market along in terms of the entire consumer population along in terms of participating in the stock exchange, understanding the opportunities for wealth creation, demystifying the concept of stocks and investing. Those are really important things as a part of our mission here at the stock exchange, and so that whole agenda is still very much a focus for us, and we're going to continue to push on that.
Let's look back a little. You mentioned briefly the regional integration and expansion. You had a very successful conference in Guyana, and we've been seeing the news coming out of Guyana. The GCCI just had their development forum, and again, that was speaking about the junior market, which is built largely off the Jamaica concept of junior market. How have those discussions gone, and what should we be looking forward to?
So I think those discussions continue. I would say that the parties have remained very engaged. There is a very high level of collaboration, and I am very optimistic. As you've said, the utterances that have been coming out of Guyana, but I'm very optimistic about what the potential collaboration between the stock exchange, the Chamber of Commerce in Georgetown, and what that means for us to help support them and also expand our business to that market. So I think I'll leave it at I'm very optimistic about where we're heading.
It's a bit early, but we're going into conference next year. Everybody is now looking. Trinidad just had a packed house. Everybody is looking at the leader, Jamaica. What should we expect?
Well, I know that team is very focused on that. Have a very exciting agenda. I've been talking to some of the lead sponsors as well for the event, who have it as really a staple of their calendar. And so a big part of that is really trying to make sure we have and confirm a lot of the speakers to make sure that the agenda is as robust as possible, that we kind of push the boundaries of the discussion, so that we can really challenge our market to grow. I always look forward to to the event. It is, as you said, a staple in our
Yes.
calendar. And we have a lot of visitors from across outside of the Caribbean, and frankly, lots of international capital market players that also come and participate. So, very, very exciting for us.
Yes. You spoke about diversifying the income stream, and while largely we're a equity market,
Yes.
we've started the listing of bonds and the trading of bonds, and so you're providing a structured regulatory framework for that to happen. With rates coming down in the U.S., emerging markets suddenly become more attractive again.
Absolutely.
Is this?
And securities listed on public exchanges on emerging markets are even more attractive.
Even more attractive.
So the way I would think about the diversification is when you look at the list of platforms that the stock exchange has, main market, the junior market, the US dollar market, the bond market, the private market. There are so many different lines of capital market solutions is the way I'd like to think about it. And we've continued to add more. So the very recent launch of the Green Bond initiative, and I think that is in a world driven by ESG. There is so much activity and interest in that space, and for us to have a platform that can serve the region, especially for international investors to participate in that market, I think that's very, very exciting, right? And so I think the market should look out for more activity in that space early in 2025.
So the Caribbean leaders talking about that recently.
Absolutely, because it is such a critical part of the future. Low-lying states in the Caribbean, environmental climate issues are a real challenge for us. But the world has adopted the ESG framework, environmental, sustainable, governance. That whole framework is really designed to support nations like ours, right? And if we also operate in a country where we have a robust governance framework, and our stock exchange helps provide that kind of overall support for investor confidence in our markets, I'm very excited. If you think about it, last year at this point in time, I think we had about 11 securities listed. This year we have 9, and I think we'll have a few more before the end of the year. And that kind of continued activity, even in what was definitely considered a challenging economic environment, shows the strength of the stock exchange, shows how robust our platform is, shows the faith that the investing community has in here, shows the talent and the breadth of the resources of our capital market players, our securities dealers, who really are at the top of the food chain in the Caribbean. We really have a good and robust financial sector here, and want to continue to build on that.
It would be remiss of me if we were to come here and sit and chat without mentioning that there's another listing coming up. The perpetual preference shares are opening up for another listing pretty soon.
Absolutely. So
IPOs coming out.
Lots of activity. Lots of activity.
Final words from you, Stephen.
Well, Neilson, first of all, just thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. And it's really a pleasure to also share the good news about our exchange, about our market. We talked about how the stock exchange is doing well, and we talked about how that's really driven by market activity, which has really showed some positive trends so far this year. And we talked about the fact that the overall market is still down just a tad. But if you look at the leading indicators of increased market activity, I think that signals a really positive runway for equities, a really positive runway for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and a really positive runway for investors to start diving back into the market.
Absolutely positive way on which to end the conversation. And we invite you, talk to your brokers, look at the information that they're putting out, And stay tuned to CBX Let's Talk Stocks, where we'll give you information to make better financial decisions. Come back with us tomorrow morning at 9. Another exciting program lined up for you.